Good morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Pre-Market Info.
Well, lots of earnings here to report. Obviously, last night the big stocks, Microsoft, AT&T, Starbucks, all reporting earnings. This morning we've had Procter & Gamble and Honeywell, Halliburton. Joel, let's start with Microsoft, though, from last night. Here's a stock. It's been in this trading range that we've talked about. Maybe you can show us a daily there. Obviously, this range here, it's broke out of it. Well, it broke out of it yesterday, but it's pulled back into the range here overnight, trading down 30 cents. It reported 76 cents against 75 cents. It was finding a little bit of support in that 27 area, though, after hours.
Yeah, yesterday it tried to fill the gap that we've had up to 28.20, got as high as 28.07, had a little profit taking on the close at 27 at 27.63. Had some pretty good action in the first few minutes when the numbers were released. You did get a spike up here in the pre-market to 28.19, and then you came crashing down to that $27 level where you had 4 out of 5 lows from the previous trading sessions. You did sneak under 27 only on one occasion there, down to 26.96. So once again, that $27 level is going to be huge. I think as long as they Mr. Softy can hold that 27, was poised to test that 28 today.
AT&T also reported earnings last night. It was kind of a wild ride. It was trading down originally. They actually missed by 1 cent. So it traded down originally on that news, but then it turned around and started catching a bid and actually was trading up there by the end of the regular session. It hasn't had any trades here this morning, but how high did it get there after hours, Joel?
You got a couple spikes in AT&T over 34.50. You got to 34.57, and then you came crashing down down to 30 under 33.50 to 33.35. So that was the pre-market range right after the numbers were released. Right now in the pre-market, just hanging around unchanged. So you can use yesterday's parameters. Still will be good numbers. Settled right on the low, 33.75, trading right there in the pre-market. I think if you can hold that, you got a chance to rally, test the 34.10 level again. I think that 34.50 level is a little bit out of the question to see today. But see if they could get back up through 34.08 first, which was yesterday's high.
And talk about a wild ride. Starbucks reported earnings. They came in line 57 cents against estimates of 57 cents. Stock's revenue was a bit light, 3.8 billion against 3.84 billion estimates, but man, Starbucks was just flying around here after hours. It initially was trading up, then it was down, then it's actually trading up over $2 here right now, 56.5. But what was that after hours low? That thing traded down below 53, did it not?
Yeah, the initial spike down took us down to 52.61, turned things around, and then this morning, only recently, we've traded at 56.94. That is exceeding the high that we had back on the 4th at 56 even. Have to go out a little bit farther to catch the major resistance in this thing. Looking at the monthly here, the next major resistance level you have is 58.43. I think that's going to be a little bit out of the question today, but let's keep an eye on the pre-market high, 56.94.
We've had some major earnings reports here this morning. Procter & Gamble reported just around 7 o'clock this morning. Stock initially spiked up, I think got as high as 72.16. Started peeling back a little bit, trading 71.80 right now on about 79,000 shares. Major resistance probably in the 72 area. We've been talking about the 71 area, though, for quite some time. It looks like it's poised to open over 71. I think it's going to be challenging for this thing to really get much higher than 72, at least early on, because he knows there's going to be more institutional selling pressure at 72. And it wouldn't surprise me if that 71 seller is still lurking around on New York, and obviously his liquidity becomes active at 9:30, which could pull the price down a little bit from even where it's trading right now. 71.80 is where it's trading right now, though, here in the pre-market, up $1.40.
big move for Procter Gamble on only 80,000 shares. 72.16 was the pre-market high. You're blowing through major resistance that you had at 71. Let's keep an eye on that pre-market high here at 72.16 as your major resistance. We could just talk about here a little bit, Dennis, about all the stock that's in the book, below these levels, several 100,000 share orders, probably at 71, 71 and a half. It's just a question whether the designated market maker, has enough stock in the book to open it low enough and rally, surprise the heck out of everybody, open it low and rally, or if it just, the overwhelming buyers make this thing open up near the top 72 and it comes crashing in.
Yeah, and we're on light volume right now, 82,000, but it is picking up here in the last 10, 20 minutes. And as we get closer to the open, that volume will start to pick up even more. So let's say you have 300,000 or 400,000 shares down there, 71, 71 and a half area. If it starts trading over 5, 6, 700,000, those shares, obviously, they have enough there that it's going to overcompensate for, because basically you have these traders trading it in the pre-market here, and those traders are usually shorter-term traders, professionals trading the pre-market, so they're going to be either initiating shorts or longs. So as the stock trades at a certain price, so if it's trading the 71.80 and it starts to trade a few 100,000 shares up here at this level, the level becomes more relevant. That's why we always say we look at volume in the pre-market. If it's trading on 30, 40, 50,000 shares only for a stock like Procter & Gamble, that's not much. 80,000 shares isn't much either, but as you can see, just since I've even been talking, it's picked up another 5,000 shares. So it is starting to trade. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing's traded 500,000 or 600,000 shares by the 9:30 open, which would push the stock higher as well, as all these traders now have reference points up in the 71.80 area.
Yeah, and if you do go into a sell-off mode, look for that $71 level. It'd be major support, as that will attempt to fill the gap.
Yeah, that's a bogey. Go your whole number theory here. 71, obviously, it looks like we're going to open over there. You can say the 71 and a half, but 72 is going to be your big number here too. This thing starts to rally up. Maybe it gets a little bit of a low open, but if it starts to bounce up, the high freaks are all over in front of the 72 area too. So wouldn't be surprised if this stock started to find resistance in the 71.90s. Full disclosure, I do have trading position on in Procter & Gamble as well. Honeywell reported here this morning. They beat by a penny. Stock actually just trading flat. Full disclosure, I got a position on this one too. $1.10 versus a $1.09. 475 to 495 is where they're putting guidance for the year. Guidance was up at 492, so that seems a little light to me on the Honeywell guidance. But stock is trading flat on 0 shares.
Yesterday after the close, when the news was released, you got a spike up to 69.21, which obliterates the former high of the move, which was right at it was at 69.21. That's where we traded yesterday. That's where we traded up to in the pre-market. That's going to be major resistance. Since you've made that high, you have pulled back just a little bit to the $68 level, trading 30 cents above that. Use that as support. Looking at yesterday's range, like I said, 69.21 was the high. Keep an eye on that level. Look at this march the stock has had since the $64 level. So maybe some profit taking in Honeywell.
Is that an all-time high for Honeywell? Has it been that high there before, Joel? Because it's got to be a multi-year high. I can go out to my charts.
Yeah, we can just bring the chart out here. This is the monthly.
Yeah,
so,
that looks like an all-time high to me here, maybe happening.
Yep.
Honeywell, anyways. No, actually, you got to go back. Joel's finding it back to 2000. What was that high up there in 2000?
Actually, the high backing on 1999 was 68.63.
Okay, so right there, we're trying to break out to new all-time highs here. So obviously, if that's the old all-time high, keep an eye on that number too as we're trading here early on. It is bid up. It's bid up 23 cents despite 0 volume, so 68.40. So it's looking like it may open higher because that's been bid there for a while and nobody's hitting them. So it does look like it might be opening higher. Halliburton trading up a bit here as well in the pre-market, up $1.40. They reported earnings, beat them by 6 cents, 67 cents versus 61 cents. Stock trading up here pretty nice this morning. Nice move for Halliburton.
Oh boy, this thing's been straight up here, making highs in the pre-market market as we speak, 39.50. We just ticked. That's the high. If you're looking to short this stock or exit along, just let this thing float up. I mean, I guess the only thing you could throw out there is the $40 level, maybe some size kicking around there.
Goldman Sachs, a couple of banks ganging up on Goldman this morning. Deutsche Bank and Citigroup both downgrading the big gun, both on valuation. They think the run is a little bit too much too fast. Stock is pulling down a bit here this morning. It's down 60 cents. Obviously, the market's trading up 4 points, so it is looking a little bit weaker. But considering two downgrades, I think Goldman Sachs holding up pretty well this morning.
Yeah, pre-market low is 143.90. Not a lot of volume associated with that. I mean, I don't know how much stake you could put in these upgrades and downgrades. I would just keep an eye on 144.06. That was yesterday's low. We did dip below it in the pre-market. That will act as minor support. If in fact you break through that 144 level, your next level to keep an eye on is 143.34. I mean, this thing has had a heck of a run from 115 to over 145. So, to take back, half of that move, over the course of time, maybe back down to the 130 level, you still would be in a real bullish formation. But boy, oh boy, that's a good-looking chart if you're long.
JP Morgan, actually. I guess Deutsche Bank is putting on a pair trade this morning because they are upgrading JP Morgan. So they downgrade Goldman Sachs. They're upgrading JP Morgan on valuation. They think, just going back to the fundamentals, JP Morgan is cheaper than Goldman Sachs. JP Morgan trading up pretty significantly on this. It's up 50 cents this morning, 46.92. So nice lift for JP Morgan. $47. It's going to be a big number for it. It's trading right below that right now in the pre-market. I'd assume you got a little bit of high frequency resistance right here, right now, where we're trading at 46.92. Starts breaking above 47. Obviously, those high freaks get out, and then it just starts to trade normally again. But I think you see a little initial resistance in the 46.90s.
Yep, 47 did tick that in the pre-market. You had a high a few days ago at the 46.87 level, so that will be your area of resistance. This is the highest this stock has traded in a long time. You got a couple monthly tops here, too, at the $47 level. After that, your things open up to the April of 2011 high of 47.80. But even if you do get a pop above the 47, let's say it takes out that size, comes crashing back down under 47, you might want to use a stop at 46.89 or 46.90 to keep a lead on profits. But boy, Dennis, I surprised you didn't mention when I talked you out of buying this stock at 30.
I know. That thing, the whale trade was going on, and I was looking at that. We've talked about this last year on the show a couple of times. I've given you heat for that, but I wanted to buy the thing at 31 when it was pulling back down there. And Joel says, no, wait, you're going to get it at 29, 28 level. And I was like, well, you might be right. It's come a long ways. There's great support down there at 28. I'll save myself a couple bucks and pick the exact bottom. Obviously, it's turned around, rallied 15 points here, so thanks a lot there, Joel, for that one. Thanks again.
Yeah, well, I didn't talk you out of buying it, the next 16 or 17 points.
Yeah, we didn't talk you back into buying it either. Let's look at Apple because, wow, what a disaster for Apple yesterday. It's bouncing a bit here this morning, trading 453, so it's getting a 3-point bounce after a 65-point sell-off yesterday. Closed near the lows yesterday. The stock's been beaten. Everybody says, well, this value here. But, I mean, it's just sentiment. Stocks trade on market sentiment, and everybody hates the stock right now. And until everybody forgets about it, and then it slowly starts to make a climb, that's, when it's going to turn. So when is the bottom? Who knows? I mean, it's a ridiculous, it's starting to get to a ridiculous point of valuation where it's getting ridiculously cheap. But at the same time, when stocks are out of favor, they overshoot. Just like it overshot on the upside in the 705, it's overshooting probably on the downside here. But who knows? This thing could go down, that 425 area or 400 area before it finds a bottom. Very hard to pick bottoms when stocks continue to disappoint and make lows every day. What's your
right?
take?
Low in the low in the pre-market is 447.36. It was kind of weak right after the 4 o'clock close. Started migrating up a little bit. We are trading high at the high of the pre-market range here, right around 454. So you can use that as resistance. You break through the 454 level. Only minor support at 455 and a half, or minor resistance at 455 and a half. And then you got a lot of air up to the 460 level. I had to go back pretty far to find some other support levels in this stock. The low back in January 30th, almost a year ago, 52-week low, was at 445.39. And then the other level I saw below that I really liked, there was multiple lows just a few days before that last January between 443.14 and 443.77. So the whole 445 area is major support if, in fact, we take out that overnight low of 447.36.
And look at Google. There yesterday, Google having a strong day, breaking out again. So everybody's selling Apple, buying everything else. That trade's still working. Google's up another $3 here this morning at 7.56. Look at the spread. So now you've got 303 points is the difference. These two stocks, believe it or not, I believe it was back, and I just go check, but back towards October of last year. So we're just going back 3.5 months ago. These two stocks were the exact same price, both trading around $680, and now both of them are actually, well, now you've got over a 300-point difference in the price. So Google has been an unbelievable performer compared to Apple in the last 3 months.
Time to put that spread on, huh?
It's 300 points wide now. We were tracking it there, and it kept bouncing around. It'd be even, and then it was 60 points, and then it was back to even. That was last year. And now all of a sudden, just Google is taking it away from Apple, and they're 300 points higher than Apple. Wow. Pair
Well,
traders
we'll have to keep an eye on. Yep, looking at the pre-market activity, you did get a spike up to 757.99, right ahead of that whole number, 758. I had to go do a little digging there. Back on October 18th of last year, we had a high at 759.42, so that will be your resistance area. Coming back on the downside, we're trading above the close, which is 753.83. That will be minor support. If you break below that, you should get into the 740s. But you have a strong market here. Google will probably poised to test the upper end of that trading range.
Caterpillar reports earnings Monday morning. Obviously, trading up here about 90 cents right now, but I want to alert you, there's like a quadruple top happening up here. Look at this level, Joel. This whole 97.60, 97.70 area. Stocks topped out there 4 days in a row. You don't see too many formations like that.
Yep, use that. Hasn't quite got there in the pre-market, probably leading on some sellers at 98, but just based on my observations on a couple of the other stocks like ExxonMobil a few days ago broke through a triple top. Play it if it gets through that 75 area. Perhaps use a stop, 15, 20 cents below it, so your risk-reward ratio is intact. The cat is knocking on the door, breaking out.
Overall market thoughts here before we close the show. We're coming up. The S&P futures approaching that 1500. The cash broke through the 1500 yesterday. Futures just 3.5 points below that critical 1500 level. We're going to see breakout through 1500 today.
Why not?
Why not? It's the honey badger market. It don't care that Apple's falling apart. It don't care if there's bad news. It just keeps climbing every day. Honey badger don't care.
1497.75 was the high that you had from yesterday. Looking at the pre-market activity, we've gotten a 497.50. So a double top for now. Above that, Dennis, I was looking at the charts. There's really nothing above there. I'd call that $1,500 level only minor resistance. Looking at a little bit more resistance here at 1505, but hey, I'm getting sick and tired of adjusting my numbers upwards in these S&Ps every day. When are we going to come back down and it lets some people back in this
Well,
market.
it's always up like an escalator, down like an elevator. I don't know when the escalator ride ends, but that's what it looks like. It's a slow, steady climb, and eventually it'll be a wash out there. We'll probably fall 30 or 40 points one morning, and everybody will wash out. But who knows when that happens? Maybe that happens up at 1550 for all we know. As long as the escalator's still going up, I guess you continue to ride it. That's our show for today. We'll be back with you guys on Monday.